Chess friends, I hope you are doing well. Today, I have a very aggressive and adventurous chess game to share, played between Torch Chess AI and me. As you know, Torch Chess Engine is the second best chess engine in the world, and has an ELO rating over 4000. This game is very authentic, where I sacrifice my bishop, and I will share the opening tactics and middle game strategy used in this game. So, let's get started without wasting any time. I started the game with d4 and we have d5, knight f3. Here black can go with c6 or e6, therefore, I will choose c4, Torch played knight f6, and I responded with c4. Black's main options to consider are e6, and white would play knight c3 or g3. Therefore, black might respond by capturing the pawn or playing bishop before check. However, in our actual game, instead of playing e6, Torch captured the pawn with d takes e4. This is a very surprising move, as it provides me the opportunity to play e3, attacking the pawn. Playing d5 is a very bad choice because of a4, which you know very well. Some inexperienced players might consider bishop e6 to protect that pawn. But this is also a very bad choice because I can respond with knight c3 and advance my center pawns. Alright, Torch played e6, and after the pawn capture, he immediately played c5, striking in the center. After castling, we have a6 and b5 from Torch. He is lighting up the queenside with his moves, and because he is not only an AI but a torch, which I use in my toilet if there is no electricity, he just wants to develop his bishop. Here, many players are likely to consider c4, kicking out the bishop. But as the bishop moves back, bishop e7 might be considered by black to prepare for castling. Therefore, after e4, making two center pawns, bishop b7 and a3 happens on the board to prevent any sort of pawn movement on b4. After castling and some moves later, e5 will come, and therefore, you can play the secret move h4. This is a very secret move, akin to conducting an experiment in a bunker planning how to defeat black. After developing your final piece, I can respond with knight g5, attacking the h7 pawn. This significantly and vividly describes my chess opening tactics, similar to NASA inventing the Hubble telescope to observe what is happening 100 light-years away. You see an image of an alien observing you from 200 light-years away, indicating that their technology is far superior to yours. Capturing the knight would be the best move for black, but if black dares to consider h6 to kick out the knight, you can play the stunning move bishop takes h7 check. The king cannot go to g8 because of knight takes f7 check, ending the love story between the queen and the king. The king will face sad incidents and insomnia at night. After king f8, you can actually sacrifice your knight on knight takes f7 check. The queen is under attack, and black has no choice but to capture the knight, allowing you to capture the d5 knight. Consequently, queen h5 check will arrive, and the king has to move back. You can play the stunning move bishop takes h6. The game is over for black as queen g6 is coming with the idea of attacking black, and the game will be over from there. These are the opening tactics and strategy you can use in your game. You might argue that these moves are very difficult to memorize. Look, you don't have to memorize the moves, you just need to understand the chess tactics behind them, how your pieces can attack black's position. That is the key goal, the key point. Alright, going back to the position, we discovered that playing c4 is a very bad choice, which is why Torch responded with b4, attacking the knight. As the knight moves, we have bishop e7, and consequently, we have central exchanges on d4. Now, this d4 pawn becomes a backward pawn, which is not defended by any pawns. Black can initially target this pawn, and you have to protect it with your pieces, which is disadvantageous for me, but it also holds significant advantages. For instance, if you consider any normal kind of move like knight c6, I can scream loudly in the morning, breaking your sleep and sweet dream by playing d5. Attacking these pieces and capturing the pawn would result in rook e1 check, putting the king in a terrible condition due to additional moves like knight c5 and bishop a4. Attacking the knight and the bishop, the game would be in my favor. However, I would not show you all the variations, otherwise, the video will be too long. I have to maintain my video points and commentary. So, going back to the position, we analyze that knight c6 is a very bad choice. After playing bishop d6, knight c5 puts pressure on the bishop like an elephant puts pressure on a rat with its leg. It's a hilarious situation. If you dare to protect your bishop by playing queen b6, I can go with knight e5, sending my knight to battle, regardless of your bishop attack. My pawn can recapture it, and even if you play short side castle, it will be just over for you. I can respond with knight c4, attacking these pieces. As the queen moves back, you see that both bishops are under attack by my knights, allowing me to capture your d6 bishop. On the next move, I will capture your b7 bishop. When problems come into your life, they do not come alone, they come with brothers and sisters, a bunch of problems. This is the ruthless truth of life. Alright, going back to the position, we discovered that playing queen b6 is a very bad choice, which is why some may consider playing bishop c6. However, this is also a foolish move to protect from the knight attack. It is foolish because I can put a cap on your head and make you look foolish by sacrificing my knight on e6. You are trying to protect your peace and I am determined to sacrifice my peace. That is the difference between you and me, the rat and the god. After knight takes e6, f takes e6, you cannot castle, therefore, rook e1 can come to attack along this file, and knight g5 can make a ruthless attack on your king's side. Bishop d7 looks logical to eliminate the bishop, but after the exchanges rook e1 will follow, king f7 will face queen b3, like walking on the side of the road and a speeding car splashes water on your face. This is akin to that, which is why after bishop takes e7, you will face bishop takes b4, putting pressure on the bishop on e7. Even playing knight c6 looks reasonable to protect the bishop and also attacks the b4 bishop. However, it does not matter because E equals mc squared is already proven by Albert Einstein, and I can make my knight equal to knight e5, attacking the mass and the light, that will produce energy after I play rook e5, putting much pressure on the bishop on e7, and you will lose all the advantages, giving me a significantly favorable position. So, let me share a beautiful love quote in sudden for you. Love is made up of three unconditional properties in equal measure: acceptance, understanding, and appreciation. Remove any one of the three, and the triangle falls apart. So, going back to the position, we discovered that both the bishop and queen moves are very useless. It's like going to a restaurant and receiving rotten food on your plate. This has happened to most of us. Torch just captured the c5 knight to reduce some attacks and played knight c6. So far, so good. I go with queen c1, getting away from this queen line so that I can develop my bishop to g5. After castling, we have rook d1, indirectly attacking the queen. The queen cannot go to e7 due to bishop f4. And then the bishop will go to d6, where it will have the most powerful outpost in the center. This would be very ruthless for you. Therefore, we have knight d5 followed by bishop g5, and the queen moves away. Of course, you can capture the knight on d5, winning the pawn on d5, but the bishop can make a significant indirect attack on the rook, which is very disadvantageous for me. It's like going hunting in a jungle and a lion tries to hunt you, the hunter becomes the hunted. This is akin to this position. Which is why we have bishop a4, attacking the knight. As the queen moves, the bishop moves back, and consequently, bishop g3 comes to attack along the diagonal. Torch played queen a5 to attack the bishop. Capturing the knight will not bring any advantages for me, which is why the bishop moves back to c2 to attack along the diagonal. The king, with his bodyguards, is living on this terrific Bermuda island, and I have to make significant advances and piece combinations to invade and attack this island. The knight moves back, and we have bishop d6, the knight goes to d7, followed by a3 and knight takes c5. I played the ruthless move knight g5, attacking the h7 pawn. Playing knight f6 might be a desirable move for many chess players. It's like going on a travel and seeing a beautiful place beside a lake before reaching your destination, but that land is very isolated and horrific at the same time. Would you leave your car or keep driving? That's akin to this position. Knight f6 protects the pawn, but after queen f4, it will attack the b4 pawn. Therefore, h6 can be played by many chess players, but I can sacrifice my knight on f7, ending your life flight. When you capture my knight, I can recapture the pawn, attacking the queen. As the queen moves back, b takes c5 will gain a tempo on the queen, exposing your king. This will give me a significant advantage, and the game will be in my hands. So, going back to the position, we discovered that playing h6 is a very bad choice. Noticing that the b4 pawn can be attacked, black might consider playing queen b6, but it is also a very vulnerable move, likely considered by inexperienced and fool chess players. I can capture your pawn on h7, and after knight takes h7, the f-file will be open for my queen. This is why queen takes f7 check will ruin your kingside position. As the king moves back, we have bishop e5, attacking the g7 pawn. None of your pieces can protect the pawn, which is why after rook g8, queen h5 check will arrive, and checkmate in one move is coming. The queen is not in a position to protect. Even playing bishop e4 looks reasonable to protect the knight, but I can play a stunning checkmate in Mikhail Tal's style. The spirit of Mikhail Tal comes into my body, and I, the Mikhail Tal spirit, play knight f7 check, leading to a mate. It's a great checkmate because I didn't sacrifice my queen but checkmated you with a single knight. So, going back to the position, we discovered that playing knight f6 is a very bad choice to protect that pawn. Therefore, I decided to go with h6, kicking out my knight, but I thought, wait, I will not retreat my knight because once I make a plan, I will accomplish that plan no matter what. I will play bishop h7 check. The king has no square to go but h8. Now you can pause the video here and try to figure out what I played in this position. I played a stunning move you might not imagine, knight f7 check, attacking the king and sacrificing the bishop. Consequently, queen c2 check arrives on the board, and the king cannot go to the g8 square to safeguard his position. It's like trying to protect yourself from a jaguar by hiding in a tree, but the jaguar can climb the tree and reach you. My knight can capture the pawn on h6, attacking the king. As the knight captures, queen g6 check will arrive, leaving you only one square to go. Then bishop e5 check will arrive. And the game will be checkmated after you play knight f6 and I capture it. The game will be over for you. Alright, so going back to the position, we discovered that the king cannot move back to the g8 square. That is the deficiency of your king's position, which is why, to protect the attack, the soldier arrives with his umbrella on g6, the queen goes to d2 to attack the pawn on h6, and you can see that none of your knights can protect your position to safeguard the king. Even the queen is not located on the king's side, the rook cannot safeguard the king, and your king, with only 2 pawns, is trying to survive like Bear Grylls on an island, facing many consequences and circumstances. Torch played g5, as it is the only move to consider, but when you play g6, the diagonal opens wide for me, and I can check you again with queen c2 check. This time it is different from the previous variation. None of your pieces can protect the black king. The black king faces a very problematic situation, like a company hiring many employees who become idle and lazy, leading the company to fail. King g7 comes on the board, and after knight e5 comes on the board, preparing to play queen g6 check, we have knight f4 to protect that square. So far so good. In this position, many chess players might consider playing g3 to kick out the knight, but my queen is threatening your king on g6, it also opens the diagonal for the bishop, and the knight can come anytime on the board. Therefore, black will play knight e4, attacking your queen directly. As the queen moves, knight h3 check can arrive. The king cannot go to these light squares because the bishop, hiding from the Himalaya mountain, can fork your king with the knight on d2. The queen will be under attack at the same time, so after king f1 happens, queen b6 can arrive to attack the pawn on f2, putting you at a significant disadvantage. Since the c-file is protected by the rook, the queen cannot arrive there to protect that square. Even rook d2 cannot be played because of knight takes d2. And this position is just over for you, like a Takeshi ninja soldier captured by many opponents, unable to escape. Going back to the position, we discovered that playing g3 is a very bad choice, which is why I just captured the knight on c5, as it is the only move to go. But the worst thing is that you cannot capture back my bishop. Let me illustrate what will happen. If you enter a black hole, you will meet a similar body and personality of yourself in front of you. Rook d7 check will arrive, and consequently, queen h7 check will arrive on the board, leading to checkmate in a few moves. ending the game for you. The black hole is a very dangerous thing for any planet or energy in the universe. So, let me share an inspirational AMD mindfulness quote for you. Stress and anxiety are created by how we perceive our experience of life. Change your perception, and you will change your life. So going back to the position, you cannot capture the bishop, due to the potential threat of entering a black hole. Therefore, bishop d5 comes on the board to block the rook's entry point. I played knight d7, a very strong move to protect the bishop. My bishop is threatening to come to d4 to attack the king, and the queen can come to this diagonal, which is very advantageous for me. This is why the queen moves back to d8, trying to protect its territory like a bird protecting its nest from snake invasions. That's the reason why birds build their nests high in trees. We have bishop d4 check, a very cunning move. The king has only 2 squares to go. If you choose to move the king to f7, the game is over for you because I can slap black's face with queen h7 check. As the king moves back, knight f6 check will arrive, the king moves, and bishop e5 comes to siege this diagonal, causing the king many troubles. Queen g8 check is coming, forcing the king to move, and then queen g7 check will lead to checkmate, ending the game. Alright, so going back to the position, we discovered that the king cannot go to the f7 square, which is why Torch, a very powerful chess engine, considered king g8. It's like having 2 roads to choose from, one leading to hell and the other to heaven. Now, will you choose the left or the right road? That's the question. Make your choice and decide your path. This is akin to the position. We have king g8, and after knight f6 check happens on the board, the king has 5 squares to go, but these dark squares are off limits because the bishop is protecting them. Also, queen h7 check is coming. Black cannot move to these squares either because of queen h7 check. This is why Torch decided to capture my knight on f6. It's a great move because my queen is under threat, so, I decided to capture the rook on c8 because, consequently, I regained my queen, leaving me with 2 rooks against 2 minor pieces, and a bishop for the rook. This position is quite advantageous for me. Following that, we have b3, and after a few moves, rook exchanges occur on c1, and the bishop captures on g2. The knight is protecting that bishop, which is why I played f4. The bishop needs to move back to f2 to kick out the knight, and that's exactly what happens. After a couple more moves, my rooks reach the 7th rank, allowing me to pick up the f-pawn. You can see my bishop is well protected, and the rook on b4 attacks the pawn, which is completely winning for me. This game between Torch and me was very insightful. I hope you learned some secret strategies and tactics from it. In the end, I promoted a pawn to a new queen and subsequently checkmated him with the queen and bishop. It was a cunning and beautiful game. I hope you enjoyed it very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Wishing you all the best. Bye bye, take care, see you soon.